Good morning, I'm Alex Fisher, and I'm honored to be here today hosting the 2021 MADD Kern County Law Enforcement and Prosecutor Recognition Awards virtual ceremony. Today, we're honoring those in Kern County who epitomize the mission of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, which is to end drunk driving, help fight drug driving, support the victims of these violent crimes, and prevent underage drinking. Specifically, we're honoring our local law enforcement and prosecutors personnel who are dedicated to keeping the streets of Bakersfield and Kern County free of impaired drivers and keeping all of us as safe as possible. MADD Kern County invited each law enforcement agency in Kern County to nominate officers with the most DUI arrests, as well as officers who have gone above and beyond in their efforts to end drunk driving in our community. Today, I'm glad to say we are honoring more than 35 such people. Several sponsors have also helped make possible the awards received by our honorees. They include Sally Harold CPA and Chain Cone Styles. As we get ready to award these honorees, please join me in welcoming Alex Oddie, MADD National President, followed by Patricia Rilera, MADD California State Executive Director.
Hi, my name is Alex Oddie, and I'm the National President of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It's an honor to congratulate you on this recognition and to say thank you for the work that you do to keep our roads safe from drunk drivers. Some people say that they generally understand the contributions law enforcement make to our communities. Others still will say that while they may not understand, they appreciate the work that you do to keep them and their families safe. I want to tell you that not only do I understand and appreciate it, I'm married to it. My husband, Zach, is a special victims detective in our home of Lexington, Kentucky. In fact, my two giant dogs are named Sheriff and Sergeant. I say this to tell you from the very beginning that when I say thank you and that I understand the work that you do, you know that I live alongside of it every single day. I came to MADD for the same reason many people do. I was run over by a drunk driver when I was 13. On July 2nd, 2010, I was sitting still on a jet ski behind my dad's house on Lake Harrington. There was a 17-foot bass boat coming under a nearby bridge, and I did what I always knew to do. I gave my mom a thumbs up to let her know I saw him coming and I wasn't going to move. The boat was headed towards my mom and my brother. He banked it to the left and never straightened up. The boat hit me from the side going over 60 miles per hour, threw me off the jet ski, went up over the jet ski. I landed face down in the water and the boat came down on top of my body. I sustained, among many other injuries, a severe traumatic brain injury classified as shaken baby syndrome, a broken neck, and the loss of my right leg. The man who ran me over had multiple prior DUI offenses. 2.5 hours after the crash, he was 3 times over legal limit. I knew soon after the crash that I wanted to be the last little girl that this ever happened to. 11 years later, I know that I wasn't. I also know that because of law enforcement efforts to get drunk drivers off of our roads and waterways, more little girls make it home. As I said before, I married into law enforcement life. I understand what it is that you do and the sacrifices that you and your families make. I also know the frustration of diligently doing your job when the laws don't always treat drunk driving like the dangerous and deadly crime that it is. I appreciate how hard it is for law enforcement to continue to take people off the water and the roads, only to see them go out and do it again. Even when it's frustrating, please know that every single moment a drunk driver spends off of our roads and off of our waterways was a moment that might have saved someone's life. Many of you see victims of drunk driving on the absolute worst days of their lives, and you don't get to see what happens after. I'm what happens after. I'm the kid you saved because you took a drunk driver off the road or off the water. Maybe you can't imagine the lives that people will lead because you were there, but I can. I hope that by hearing my story, you have the same perspective that my husband has. There's a reason we have to get drunk drivers off the roads, and it's not just because it's our job. Congratulations again on your much-deserved recognition, and thank you so much for having me.
Greetings and welcome to our 2021 Virtual Law Enforcement Recognition event. We are so happy you could join us. My name is Patricia Riera. I am the California State Executive Director for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. MADD California wishes to take this time to acknowledge distinguished individuals who change lives one day at a time. Your experiences, expertise, and dedication are invaluable resources to our business model. Therefore, it is MADD California's honor to host and recognize you today. Please accept this recognition as a small token of our appreciation for the risk you take daily to keep our roads safe from impaired drivers, and for the laws you enforce on behalf of victims as prosecutors. You are truly an essential and valuable part of the MADD family. Last year, 2020, was a very difficult year for MADD California, as I'm sure it was for most. We bravely dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic, and then we were saddened when millions of people around the country took to the streets protesting police violence and racial inequality after the death of George Floyd. The alleged accusations of racial disparities by some law enforcement disturbed us most because we know how closely MADD California works with law enforcement on a daily basis. We are always alarmed when we hear allegations of officers acting outside the policies set by agencies we work with. MADD does not condone the use of unnecessary force in any situation and counts on leadership within our partner agencies to handle these situations fairly and justly. However, despite the challenges presented in 2020, MADD staff and volunteers delivered MADD's core programs and services virtually throughout California, all of which are free of charge to the public. These volunteer-based programs include, but are not limited to, victim advocacy, underage drinking prevention programs, community engagement, and the campaign to eliminate drunk and drugged driving. At its core, MADD provides services to victims and families of drunk and drug driving crashes at no cost, successfully lobby to support stronger drunk driving laws, deliver underage drinking prevention strategies to thousands of teens, and we are single-handedly responsible for changing the apathetic culture surrounding drinking and driving. Impaired driving continues to be a leading cause of deaths and injuries in our country. We applaud you today and throughout the year for your dedication to making our roadways safer. To all the MADD California honorees, congratulations, and thank you for all you do for MADD.
Next, we'll hear from Assemblyman Vince Fong of the 34th Assembly District and a longtime supporter of MADD Kern County.
Hi, this is Assemblyman Vince Fong. First, I want to thank MADD Kern County and the leadership of Carla Pearson for all her hard work and all the hard work of the volunteers in supporting victims of drunk driving. I also want to thank our local law enforcement for their partnership with MADD Kern County in working so hard to keep our roads and streets safe. Congratulations to all the officers of the year for all your hard work, your dedication, your bravery, and your valor. Keep up the good work.
As mentioned before, community support is what makes these awards and MADD Kern County's job possible. We'll hear next from Chain Cone Styles, a sponsor of this event.
Hello everyone, my name is Matt Clark with Chain Cone Styles. As many of you know, my firm has been involved with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and collaborated with Mothers Against Drunk Driving for, I believe, going on 2 decades now. MADD's mission, we believe, is one of the most important missions out there, and that is to put an end to drunk and impaired driving. Unfortunately, we've represented victims in drunk and impaired driving cases for far too long, and we want to see those cases stop. And so we've been involved with Mothers Against Drunk Driving at the local level. I personally have been involved with the Victims Impact Panel for going on a decade now. Our firm, in conjunction with Carla Pearson, started the local MADD Walk and MADD Dash. We believe that to be one of the most important community events here in Bakersfield each year, and it's something that I know I look forward to. The goal for us and our involvement with MADD is to have no more drunk and impaired driving, and so it's my hope that we ultimately reach that goal. I was lucky enough to attend a MADD Awards Gala about 2 years ago now, where I got to meet the new MADD national CEO, and he gave a speech where he talked quite a bit about the future. And one of the things that he was discussing was the technologies that are just around the corner that will hopefully, finally, help us put an end to drunk and impaired driving. So between the positive messaging that we get out there with MADD, as well as some of these new technologies that are around the corner, it's my hope, my sincerest hope, that we're going to see an end to drunk and impaired driving in Kern County. We stand with MADD to end impaired driving.
Next, handing out this year's award from the Kern County District Attorney's Office is none other than Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer. Receiving the Prosecutor of the Year award this year is Deputy District Attorney Michelle Demino.
Hello, I'm Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer. It is my honor to present this Prosecutor's Award to Michelle Domino, an attorney in this office who has repeatedly shown excellence in the prosecution of impaired driving cases. Deputy DA Michelle Domino has handled some of our office's most difficult and tragic cases with a steadfast determination to hold DUI offenders accountable for their actions. Her great compassion for the victims of these crimes is a credit to her as a person and a prosecutor. She is so deserving of this award. DUI perpetrators are a lasting and unfortunately growing threat to our community. Their random selection of victims makes it virtually impossible to guard against their flagrant disregard for the law. Too often, their crimes result in life-changing injuries or death to the truly innocent. The deaths of Carla Mendoza and Axel, Carla's 5-year-old son, at the hands of Daniel Mejia, a DUI offender, underscore the catastrophic impact the victims and their families go through with this type of crime. Daniel Mejia had been driving at a speed of 98 miles per hour with a blood alcohol content of 0.23, nearly 3 times the legal limit, when he collided with Carla's car. The impact killed Carla and Axel and grievously injured Carla's daughter Zoe, who was just 3 years old. Deputy DA Michelle Domino prosecuted Daniel Mejia for the deaths of Carla and Axel and the injuries to Zoe. Michelle secured guilty verdicts for 2 counts of murder for the deaths of Carla and Axel, as well as a DUI charge causing GBI for the injuries to Zoe. Michelle worked tirelessly in bringing some measure of justice to Carla's family. Mothers Against Drunk Driving and I thank Michelle Domino for not only her efforts in this case, but also for her dedication to victims of DUI crimes that she has shown during her time as a felony DUI prosecutor. Unfortunately, Michelle could not be here today to accept this award, but I'm looking forward to presenting it to her because she is so worthy of receiving it.
Bakersfield Police Chief Greg Terry joins us next to share about his department's work in fighting DUI crimes and introduces this year's top BPD officer, Andrew Shive. He made 94 DUI arrests during the pandemic year of 2020. Congratulations to Officer Shive.
I want to thank MADD for their dedication to ending drunk driving and fighting drug driving in our communities for over the last 40 years. I also want to thank our local MADD president, Carla Pearson, and board members for their continued support and recognition of our local law enforcement officers. With the advent of affordable and easily accessible ride services, there is absolutely no reason to get behind the wheel of a vehicle after drinking. DUI-related injuries and deaths do not have to occur. This year, 11 of your Bakersfield Police Department officers are being recognized for their work to make our roadways safer through DUI prevention and enforcement strategies. BPD officers made more than 600 DUI-related arrests in 2020, and they were led in these efforts by Officer Andrew Shive, who had 94 DUI arrests. To every officer, prosecutor, MADD advocate, and volunteer here in Bakersfield and across our country, thank you for the work that you do every day to keep our community safe. You are the ones who affect change and reduce the chance of a drunk driver killing someone. I want to say congratulations and thank you to all of the law enforcement officers being recognized. Job well done.
Bakersfield CHP officer Dallas Plotner made 100 DUI arrests in 2020 and is the recipient for this year's Top CHP Officer and Top Arresting Officer Award. Speaking next is Captain Levi Miller, commander of CHP Bakersfield.
Hello, my name is Levi Miller and I'm the commander of the California Highway Patrol Bakersfield area. I want to thank you all for joining us during this year's MADD Awards, and especially thank Mothers Against Drunk Driving, our allied agencies, our district attorney's office, and our community as a whole for supporting the CHP and getting the message out to not drink and drive. The primary goal of the CHP is to protect life. The CHP Bakersfield area made 1,403 arrests for DUI in the year 2020. I consider every arrest a life saved. Our top DUI officer for Kern County this year is CHP Officer Dallas Plotner, who made 100 arrests for driving under the influence in the year 2020. This is an incredible testament to his devotion to our community and his dedication to keeping our roadways safe. I'm very proud of Officer Plotner and all our CHP officers who serve our communities with distinction. They all put their lives on the line to keep others safe. The CHP supports MADD in their efforts to end drunk driving and their goal of no more victims.
Hi, I'm Officer Dallas Plotner with the California Highway Patrol. Thank you, MADD. I'm honored to accept this award, and I appreciate your efforts to end impaired driving, supporting the victims of these violent crimes, and prevent underage drinking. I also want to thank my family for their continued support throughout my career. I consider every arrest another life saved, and I will continue to work hard in keeping the roadways safe for everyone. Thank you.
Since 2009, our community has seen at least 4,000 DUI arrests made each year. That's more than 11 DUI arrests every day. Many people don't know that you are more likely to die of a DUI-related crime here in Kern County than any other county in the state of California, and only one other county in the U.S., in Florida, surpasses Kern County. Simply, impaired driving can cause incredible harm and can change lives forever. The awardees today and other officers on our streets are working every single day to prevent DUI crashes from ever occurring. Sadly, many impaired drivers are not stopped in time and instead cause major damage to innocent lives through DUI crashes. Faith Heath unfortunately knows this too well. Her twin daughter, Mejia, died 3 days after the January 19, 2014 crash in South Bakersfield. They were stopped at a stop sign when a DUI driver in an SUV slammed into them and then drove off. That driver was sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. Please welcome our victim speaker, Faith Heath, to present our mission moment.
January 19th, 2014. That was the day that changed my family's life. I have twin daughters, Mejia and Mejia, who were in the back seat, and I had my youngest stepson, Darius, and I was driving, and my husband, Dante Heath, was in the front seat. Dante had fallen asleep because it was a little after 10 o'clock, I believe. It was a late night for us. Dante had preached a church service, and we were picking up some things from my brothers-in-law's house at that time, and we were just on our way home. And we were rear-ended at that stop sign, and that hit was the impact was so forceful. No matter how hard I pressed on the brakes, we were still being pushed. And at one point, I stopped trying to stop the car and decided to check on my daughters because I was in so much pain. And when I looked behind me, both of my daughters were almost face down because the trunk of the car was crushed in and they were almost upside down. Both of them were crying. So I grabbed her out of her car seat at that time, and she got into my arms and she was crying, and she looked into my eyes. But as soon as she looked in my eyes, she stopped crying and her eyes just rolled back. And at that point, I gave her to my husband, and I tried to get my other daughter out of her car seat. And during this time, so many people came to help us. And I called them all my angels because they came from out of nowhere. We were on a dark street, but that street was so full when everyone started to come out and help us. And then the first responder came and opened my husband's door because we couldn't open my door. He opened my husband's door and he took my daughter. My husband says, I think she's knocked out. And he says, can you help her? And he grabbed her and he didn't say anything. He says, we're gonna take her to get help. My son and myself were stuck in the car and they had to use the jaws of life to get us out. And they told me I couldn't go to the hospital where my daughters were going to because they were full. So they took me to an entirely different hospital. So by the time I got to the hospital, they strapped me in. They were asking about my pain. And I felt pain, but I couldn't feel much because I was so worried about my daughters. And then at that point, a chaplain came in. By the time they gave me some pain medication, the chaplain came in. I'm like, why are you here? He says, well, the other hospital communicated that we should have a chaplain come and speak with you. And at this point, I had no idea what was going on with my daughter at the other hospital. But they're gonna send a helicopter and they're gonna take her to Madeira. And I said, okay. And then I got my other twin, Mejia. And I'm holding her and she was like, she had no mark on her, which is a miracle from God. And I grab her and I'm holding her and I'm waiting for the doctors to come because they had to send a whole team from Madeira to transport my daughter back. So when they get there, the doctor that flew in, I said, take care of my baby. He said, she's my baby now, and I will take care of her for you. And I'll see you when you get there. When we finally made it to the Children's Hospital, the doctor, she meets me, a different doctor. She meets us and she says, can you just tell me what happened? I was like, told her everything about the accident. And she says, the other baby? I said, she's right here. She was like, well, she just couldn't believe how one twin who was right next to her was unscathed and one was in such severe shape. And she says, I said, is she gonna be okay? She says, I can't promise you that she'll make it through the night, but we're gonna do our best. My daughter lived 2 days after that. She passed January 22nd, 2014. She was exactly 6 months. She was born July 22nd, 2013. We were introduced to Carla from Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and she assisted us through the entire walk, the entire process from what to expect in court. She walked with us the entire way. As soon as we walked in court, we had Carla on our left side and we had Officer Jared Dietrich on our right. And when I say he's an angel, he is an angel. He was like a God-sent guardian angel to my family and I. Wherever we were, he was. And without all of their support and all of their protection and them coming to our aid, I know without a shadow of a doubt that we wouldn't be here today. The anniversary of my daughter's death is always hard, but it always brings me peace knowing that we have such a great team with our Kern County law enforcement, all law enforcement, our court system, that has a special dedicated team to fight against this crime of drunk driving. We have Mothers Against Drunk Driving and wonderful advocates like Carla to help us and to come to our aid. It's just so reassuring, and I just thank God for all of them. And I always tell my husband, when someone is running from gunshots and from these type of accidents, the police officers are running to it, and God has given them such a special heart to go after and to seek justice. And I will always be thankful, and they will always be in my prayers, because the fight that they fight is greater than one of many. And I just want to say thank you to all law enforcement. Thank you to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and thank you to just all of those who came to our aid during this time. And God bless you all.
Hi, my name is Brandon Stallings, and I'm the chairman of the MADD Kern County Advisory Board. It is a goal for law enforcement, MADD Kern County, and others affected by DUI crimes to raise awareness of its impact, and we cannot do this without our many media partners. 23 ABC has gone above and beyond in raising awareness regarding this important local issue, and for that we award 23 ABC this year's Community Champion Award for its ongoing coverage of the DUI epidemic in Kern County, which includes breaking news, court coverage, and human impact stories associated with these crimes. Please join me in thanking and congratulating 23 ABC for being our MADD Kern County Community Champion.
This ceremony would not be possible without members of the MADD Kern County Advisory Board and MADD Kern County volunteers who take time out of their schedules to organize this and other MADD Kern County events year-round. We have a special message for officers today from one of those volunteers, Jo Kaznicka. She lost her 27-year-old daughter in a crash caused by a DUI driver that also killed one other young person in her car and badly injured a third. Please welcome Jo.
This is a message to our DUI award-winning law enforcement officers. I don't know many of you by name, but I just have to guarantee you the fact that every single day, each and every one of you are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. Every time I hear a siren, any time of the day, my thoughts and my first response is, dear Lord, please help those ever involved in that siren, and especially the first responders. I know what you do on a daily basis to make sure that our streets are safe, that our community is safe, and that you put your life and limb on the line every single day. My prayers go out to your family who knowingly kiss you and hug you before you leave the house and not knowingly know whether or not you'll return at night. And I know what you do in the meantime. I know firsthand because my daughter was taken from us by an impaired driver. And on the night of August 30th, 2014, those of you who responded just took everything and every ounce of your being to try to save the lives of 3 young women who were involved in that tragic catastrophe. 2 of them, you again you risked your life and limb to be able to help them, and they didn't make it. They succumbed to the injuries that they sustained there. And 1 young lady did make it because of your heroic efforts. But your heroic efforts didn't stop. You just went on and on and on to try to salvage whatever you could and retain their lives. And for that, we are forever grateful. And I know that you do that so many times throughout your careers. And we cannot thank you enough. You mean the world to us. And because of you and what you risk and what you do for us, my family and I have decided to join with MADD, as we did that night so many years ago, and try to do what we can to help you out in your endeavors. You will never, ever, ever leave our hearts and our minds. You are indelibly ingrained in our lives, and everything that you do makes an entire community safe. And for that, we are extremely, extremely grateful. We praise you. We give you all of our gratitude. We ask for God's blessings upon each and every one of you forever and ever. And on behalf of my family our friends, everybody who has witnessed the things that you do and hasn't even witnessed them, but keeps you in their hearts and prayers. We thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
At this time, we'd like to acknowledge all of the MADD Kern County Award winners in Kern County. We'll be reading off the names of officers as well as the amount of impaired driving arrests made in 2020. In all, these 30 officers from throughout Kern County made more than 1,100 DUI arrests in 2020. They include officers from Bakersfield Police Department, CHP Bakersfield, CHP Buttonwillow, Department of the Air Force Security Forces Police, Kern County Probation Office, Kern County Sheriff's Office in Wasco, McFarland Police Department, Ridgecrest Police Department, Shafter Police Department, and Stallion Springs Police Department. Here are all of the winners. Jose M. Diaz, Michael Reynolds, Jeremiah Holt, Casey Knott, Brandon Price, Andrew Shive, Richard Robles, Andrew Marquez, Aaron Brown, Johnny Moreno, Bailey Abbey, Arturo Aldretta, Matt Ederdia, Dallas Plotner, Rodney Black, Jeremy Lace, John Wilson, Gilbert Deal, Brian Mara, Samuel Heredia, James Jackson, Steve Vasquez, Renee Pruneda, Ryan Delahuerta, Tyler Helton, Colin Newhouse, Michael Ogas, Santiago Estrada, Moises Martinez, James Barnard. You, the viewer, can also stand with MADD Kern County and our local law enforcement officers. We challenge all of our supporters to contribute just $5 towards MADD Kern County, and all funds raised from this event stay here in Kern to help innocent victims of DUI crashes, help raise awareness of the DUI epidemic in our community, and help fund MADD Kern County programs. Donate at the website that you see on your screen. You can also join MADD Kern County at its annual fundraiser, Walk Like MADD and MADD Dash, presented by Chain Cone Styles on Saturday, September 25th at the park at Riverwalk. Join the MADD Kern County Facebook group for more information. And that does it for this year's virtual ceremony. Thank you for tuning in and helping us celebrate the work of these men and women in our community. Congratulations to all of the MADD Kern County awardees, and thank you for your service. Everyone stay safe out there, and remember to always drive sober.